Hey guys, my name's Chris, I live in Australia, and today we're going to have a chat about tariffs. It's been all over the mainstream media recently, and I've got a problem with the mainstream media and our politicians. Our mainstream media in Australia has blown this up, something huge, all of the Trump tariffs, and our politicians are acting like weak little puppy dogs barking at the gate, more interested in looking tough to the other political parties or making themselves look tough to the mainstream media. In the wake of an election being announced in Australia, of course, they're putting the focus on looking tough over, I guess, telling the truth to the people in this country. And that's that tariffs aren't a big deal in Australia. America can swing their big dick around the locker room. It doesn't really make too much of an impact to us in Australia. And I just wish they were honest with us about that, instead of trying to blow it up into a huge thing and be like, America is not being friendly to us. They're not our friends right now. They should have just been honest and said, you know what? Doesn't have much of an impact. So let's have a run through. Let's have a walk and talk and a run through how tariffs work. You know, why we're not impacted at all, or what should have been done. So how do tariffs work? Well, contrary to what the mainstream media in Australia has been saying, where, you know, oh, we're being punished by America, America's punishing Australia. Contrary to that, how tariffs work is, say I'm an importer in America. I import, say, aluminium as an example, and I pull it across from different countries. Now, when I pull it across from a different country, say I'm an exporter in Australia, I sell my rates across to that American importer. I say, cool, this is what I charge for it. The importer goes, sweet, that's what I pay for it. Once it lands across in the US, then at that point, the importer has to pay the tariff. So the American, the person or business in America, has to pay that tariff to their government. Okay, so it's not an extra cost that Australia has to pay. It's not an extra cost that other countries have to pay. It's a cost that the importer in that country or the business in that country has to pay to their government. Now, generally what happens in that case is they up the prices and push that cost across to the American consumer. So prices on that good goes up because the government in America has a tariff on it. The countries selling it to them are not penalised with additional fees. That's not how it works. Now, if we import from America, we don't pay that tariff. We have a free trade agreement. Okay, so you go through the trade sheet. I've had a look through it. The trade sheet between Australia and America on our free trade agreement, pretty much everything is 0% tariff. So if we import something, I'm an Australian importer, I pull something across from America, we aren't charging a tariff, or our government's not charging a tariff, which increases the cost of the goods for us. Okay, so it's just a one-way thing. We send it across to America, America receives it, then their government increases the price, which passes on to the consumer. If America sends something to us, we import it through. There's no tariffs, there's no extra cost to the Australian consumer. So you know what, that's fine. Nothing to worry about there. So let's have a look at the first ones that came through. Steel and aluminium. And our media went nuts about it. Our politicians went nuts about it. Oh, 25% tariffs on steel and aluminium. Oh, Australia's being punished by America. Oh, we're getting flogged by America on these steel and aluminium tariffs. Well, the steel and aluminium industry in Australia, you know, we supply a lot to ourselves. We've got a lot of manufacturing around it. But then the amount that we export, so just the stuff that we don't use ourselves, but the amount that we export across to the US, you might think, oh, it's crippling to Australia with these tariffs. Well, it's not, because our total exports to the US on steel and aluminium, so our percentage of exports globally across the world, is only 6% to America. 6% of all the steel and aluminium that we export is to America. You know, that's not much. Our bigger trading partners are China, South Korea, Japan, and India. That's our 90%, okay? America, 6%. 6% in total steel and aluminium from Australia. The total amount of everything we export from the country, 0.2%. And out of that 0.2%, there's only 6% of that. So it's nothing, guys. This is peanuts, okay? Breadcrumbs. And our media blew it up and our politicians started blowing it up. And you know what? Even though it exports over, once again, we don't we don't pay anything there. We just sell it for our rates, and then they get taxed on it. So it's the American consumer at the end of the day who pays the price. So from Australia, only 4% of our total exports go across to America. It's not that much, okay? Once again, we have bigger trading partners. We're not very reliant on America at all, even though our politicians make it seem like it's the end of the world. Now, when we look across what America did, they said 10% blanket tariffs across to Australia. They said 10% because, and Trump stood there with this big billboard thing up, man. And he's like, these countries here are ripping America off, so we're doing tariffs to them. And it's kind of funny, man, because all them percentages, they were wrong. They were around trade surpluses, not actually tariffs or anything. We got a free trade agreement with America, 0%, 0. Okay, duck egg tariffs to America, so reciprocal should have been 0%, but so it's not the case. Now we actually import more from America than we export. So we are a good trade partner for America because we import more from them than we send back to them. So America has a surplus, okay? So that's good. But instead he says we're a bad trade partner. And it's like, oh, not quite. But then you have a look through, there was a lot of countries with 10% tariffs applied to them, a lot of them. And every country that imported more from the US than exported to the US, they all got 10%. They all got 10%. So it's just a blanket 10% that they applied across to pretty much every country. And then some other countries got more applied to them. But once again, who cares? Who cares? It's the American consumer who pays more. Okay, it's not Australian paying more or anything like that. It's not us paying more. We sell it all across to America at the same rate. All the other countries sell it across to America at the same rate. It's just their government increasing that tariff for the American consumer to pay more. So who cares? Okay, it's not Australians being ripped off, it's Americans being ripped off, and they're doing it to themselves. They want to, I guess, shore up jobs in their country. They want to try to strengthen out their dollar. They want to bring manufacturing back to their country. That's why they're doing it, okay? But it comes at a cost, and the cost is to the people who earn the least in their country. The lower class, the middle class is being squeezed just as much as is happening here in Australia. And this one here is just another big push up on pricing to the American consumer. It's costing them dearly. Some would say these tariffs are a black swan event in America. How good is that? It's a swan. How cool is it? How cool is that thing, man? A black swan, or is it a black pelican? I don't know. Now, as part of Trump's tariff announcements, he mentioned Australian beef. And he said Australia hasn't imported beef from us in over 20 years. And he used beef as an example. And well, you know, I wish, once again, our mainstream media and our politicians just address that directly instead of saying, America's being unfriendly to us. It's ridiculous. If they addressed it fairly, they would have just said, okay, well, yes, we stopped importing beef over 20 years ago as part of our biosecurity plans. So any country that had mad cow disease in their beef, we stopped importing from them because we don't want that to spread over here in Australia. We want to protect our beef industry. We don't want mad cow disease. We have 0 cases of mad cow disease in Australia, whereas America had cases of mad cow disease prior to 2003, which is why we put them on the list with most of Europe and the UK and many other countries on the list saying, you know what, we're not importing beef from these countries because we don't want to we don't want to have any % chance risk of it spreading to our beef. Now you might say that's a long time ago, but in 2023 in South Carolina, an abattoir, there was a case of mad cow disease detected. That's only 2 years ago. So America still has cases popping up that's being reported. I'm sure there's plenty of cases that are not reported, that don't get through and put into the news and blasted around. But yeah, 2023 case reported in America. We don't want to drop our biosecurity laws. That's what Trump was kind of implying. He's saying, you know, drop your biosecurity laws and then maybe we'll think about removing these tariffs. It's like, well, no, we will keep our biosecurity laws and we don't care that you're charging your constituents or Americans the extra 10% for our beef. That's on you, man. Like the Americans are paying more, not us. To America 15% of our beef exports goes, okay? So 85% of our beef exports goes to other countries. So America is about 3 billion, 4 billion, something around that value worth of beef. And here's the thing, we'll still sell it to them. We'll still sell the beef. America, even though there's a tariff on it, when they look at the cost of meat and beef and stuff like that, they'll probably still keep buying from Australia because their grain-fed cattle are so fatty that they need to buy our grass-fed cattle to mix in with their burgers so that their patties on their burgers meet their regulations of under 30% fat. Because if they just use their own beef, it's over 30% fat. So they're using Australian beef to mix into their burger patties. I think 10% of McDonald's, 10% of our export goes directly across to McDonald's to mix into their burger patties. So it can be legally sold as a burger patty and it's not too much fat, otherwise it's just fat and gristle all the way through it. The beef isn't as lean as Australian beef. So we'll keep selling it. People will keep importing it. It's just going to cost a little bit more to the American consumer. And even if we did see an impact on it, if we did see an impact from beef, out of everything, out of beef, just as an example, all that would happen is that 15% that we export, that, that there's, say, only half of that, so 7.5% is still being imported to America, and the 7.5% we had left like uncategorized from it because they stopped buying as much. If that happened, well, that 7.5% of the export, we would either find other countries to pick up the slack and buy it, or it would circulate through our domestic market, making beef a little bit cheaper. We'd have a surplus to share around. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's completely fine. Yet it is the end of the world with the politicians. Oh, our beef industry is about to collapse. 15% of our imports are still happening. But American people have to pay more for it. Well, what is going on? Why do our politicians, why does our mainstream media try to keep us completely worked up? Keep us in this state of fear. The thing is, oh, the world's about to end every second. No, it's ridiculous. So Australia's very distant, but there's two countries that are very impacted by, especially beef and a lot of the other tariffs, steel and aluminium, and that is Canada and Mexico. They're super reliant on exports. Where I'm talking, 15% of our beef goes to the US, they're talking more like 40, 50%. So there's huge reliances there. When I talk about 6% of our steel and aluminium exports goes to the US, they're talking like 40%, 50%, 60%, like large numbers. I don't know the exact numbers for these countries, but it's right up there. So they're the ones that are having huge impacts here. We, on the other side of the world, we have trade agreements with China, with India, with South Korea, with Japan, with New Zealand. New Zealand's our great trading partner as well. We like to work with New Zealand. So we've diversified around, and then even with like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, we got trade agreements with them as well. So we're over in this sector of the world, we're not impacted here, okay? This is not the end of the world for us. If anything, we're going to see a surplus. All these countries, manufacturing countries, like China, Vietnam, got these huge tariff increases across. Well, and if America starts buying less from them, they're just going to look around and be like, well, who else can we sell this stuff to? We have a surplus. Goods get cheaper as there's a surplus, and Australia will be right here saying, yep, cool, we've got free trade agreement, guys. We'll take it. We'll take it. You drop your prices, we'll bring it in. And there's not going to be any tariffs to us. And you know what? We don't have tariffs on you, so happy days. Let's trade away. There's a surplus. Let's take some off your hands. Lower prices for Australian consumers. So the question I would probably ask our politicians, our mainstream media, they're working us up. They're not giving us the straight answers. They're not giving us the straight facts. They're keeping us in a perpetual state of worrying about America, worrying about Trump. Yeah, worked up about Trump. But here's the thing. If Trump is doing these actions right now, he's shoring up America. He's shoring up the US dollar. He's shoring up manufacturing. He's bringing manufacturing back. He's bringing things into America, or setting up America to strengthen it. What's he know that we don't? What's coming around the corner? Is there something big happening? And if there is something big just about to happen, what's Australia doing to get prepared for it? What are your thoughts? The comment section's yours. I'll see you in the next one.